We have the Marwick Head Division 3, so our very own Gavick Porkers up 186 against the Bonnierig Cheeseheads 234. The Bluetoon Texans 132 up against the Guildford Raptors 100. That's not normal lot of ball scoring. Birmingham Bears 169 against the Not Cold Knockouts 181. That was the two teams that got automatic motion last year. Manchester Spinners 180 against the London Eagles. They finally got 200 again, and they won this time. That's 2 in a row for the London Eagles. Woohoo! Dover's Darla Diamonds 212 against the Norwich Mustard Men 186. The Darlington Dragons 177 against the Lagerville Lemons 175. So that's a close one. And no score corrections caused that one. So that's a nice way to get to the top.
It's at top of the league with a 2-point win on 177 points. Yeah, I think Darlington Dragons can thank their lucky stars this week, and of course it puts them in command of the division, and looking for automatic promotion there. Division 3, Division 2, I always say that's the biggest jump. That's the hardest one to make the jump, and they're looking good now. Great win for Bonnierig Cheeseheads against Cavite and Kelly's Cavite Porkers. It puts them in the playoff spot with 3 games to go. So if the Cheeseheads can win out, then they will take the automatic promotional spot. And doubles Darlow Diamonds there at 7-4, Norwich Mustard Men and Birmingham Bears. Knockouts right there in 6 and 5 as well, and then 5 and 6 the Guildford Raptors. Below that, it's you're 2 behind with 3 to play, and the Manchester Spinners, London Eagles, and Lagersville Lemons. It's all about staying up now for them. Obviously, that's it's season over in terms of making playoffs. So mathematically now, so yeah, this one's it's tight down to 8th. 9th's got a wee bit of a sniff, and everyone else it's all to play for. You would like to think that the 8 and 3s are in now. You don't see knockouts winning 3 in a row. If they do, then it's there's still going to be ones above them that lose. So yeah, you would like to think the 8 and 3s are in the playoffs and they're looking at automatic promotion now.
Well, I think Kelly would hope so he doesn't go on a 3-game losing streak, because he is the lowest scoring team at the top 6. So you don't want him slipping down. So you want to get that 1 win just to keep yourself safe, and that should be it. I think 1 win will keep him up. Right.
I would say he's more of a sweat than the Bonnierig Cheeseheads are, because the Cheeseheads are obviously in a bit of form at the moment as well, whereas Pork very much is not. His team's going in the opposite direction, so he will be after that elusive 9th win just to make sure, and because if any, as you say, with them being a low scorer, that's a danger area.
Let's see then. What was the 2-point difference?
He lost straight London there. It would have been a bit deeper, He lost straight London halfway through, but yeah, I mean, between Allen and Gainwell, they almost got that. The Lemons there, It was very, very close. Between Allen and Gainwell have got 90 odd points between them there.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. And that's with Devon.
Oh man, look at a player. Had a player on a bye.
So there you go, and the defender on a bye, 2 players on a bye. So there you go. That's it's.
Man, you're Rice on the bench.
Therein lies the difference with Rice on the bench, and don't even need Rice to play Thielen and won the game. So that's.
So Darlington can thank their lucky stars, Mark here, Michael, because that was yeah. But I
can indeed. It's a bit, but the thing is, and I get it, Lagersville Lemons probably in about 20-30 leagues, and this one's dead now, but it's dead at the moment. As long as you come back for the playoffs and make sure you get your playoffs in. I mean, obviously we want everyone to play on as well, given the fact that it has implications elsewhere in the league, and at least just fix your team, make sure you've got starters in, But yeah, come back for the playoffs, because you don't want to get relegated down to the bottom division. That's it. That's the big thing, isn't it?
Definitely. I think it's just come up as well. But yeah, that's Kelly's pal, Brian. That's who we had on the show one time. The peasant Pope, when he was in the Philippines visiting him. So yeah, Kelly have a word with him, because he needs to sort his team. Yeah. So this week we have the Bluetoon Texans are up against the Bonnierig Cheeseheads. Gavick Porkers are against the Birmingham Bears. So 83, 6 and 5. You've got the Manchester Spinners up against the Guildford Raptors. Norwich Mustard Men against the Not Cold Knockouts. And the Lagers Lemon up against the London Eagles. And Darlow the Diamonds are up against the Darlington Dragons.
Yeah, so there's some big games in here, you know. You've got 2 of the 2 and 9s playing each other, so you can effectively score that one out. And the other 2 and 9, who is it that's got the other 2 and 9 again?
The Manchester Spinners are playing
the Guildford Raptors. So great week for the Guildford Raptors, especially given the fact they're sitting at 5 and 6. You know, they get that win, and the 6 and 5s are playing the 7 and 4s and the 8s and 3s. So yeah, there's a lot of really big games in this division. You know, Bonnie G said as well, Chris will be absolutely cheesing that he's got Luton Patriots this week, you know, and that'll get him to the 9 wins. And you know, Port's going to have to keep up, and he's playing the 6 and 5 Birmingham Bears, which is going to be a tough game. You know, obviously Birmingham Bears chasing a playoff spot. So, yeah, it's a big week for Kelly. He's going to need to win this game to keep up with the Bonnie G sets, I would imagine.
The thing is, the Bluetooth Texans have the random game of scoring 240 points out of nowhere. So it's not a complete walkover.
You know, the way it's going now, Johnny, you know, and it's happening over and it happens every year. You know, the players that are scoring the points right now are a lot left fieldish, you know, like Kenny Gainwell and stuff like that, bouncing out to a 35-point game last week, for example. That's what's happening now. I always say you don't win. You can never win a fantasy season in the draft. Absolutely not. You win the fantasy season in agency. You win it picking up the right players at the right time. You've got the likes of Bam Knight is now leading the Arizona backfield. You know, this week, no one drafted. You know, no one had drafted him.
No.
You
there
know,
seems to be a lot of people picking up Michael Carter. But I don't know why.
But I mean, there's only Bam Knight and Michael Carter playing this week, so Michael Carter's going to get touches. I understand it as well, you know. So that these are the guys. You know, so the scoring can flip about, and just because you're down there at 2-9 doesn't mean you can't have a massive week, you know. And it happens all the time. It's freaky how often it happens, you know. Like those who had Christian Watson sitting in their team at the start, for example, you know, sticking him on IR, he's now back and he's doing okay, you know. And that enhances your team, and all of a sudden you go from 0-10 to winning the last 4 games and thinking, how the hell did that happen? It happened because your players are starting, you know, the obscure players started scoring and you had them picked up from agency. You know, it's crazy how much it turns around, and that's why you often see that, you know, top seeds going into playoffs aren't necessarily the teams who win it, because any given Sunday comes in as soon as you hit the playoffs.
Yeah, I just want to get to the top 2 and then worry about it afterwards. Bounce back up after last season.
And take your wins when you get them is the other big thing, you know. If you take your wins when you get them. These close wins, see the Darlington Dragons getting that 2-point with 2 players not playing the other side. You take your wins when you get them, you know, and that's exactly what I mean by that. So yeah, a lot of big games this week, Johnny. Norwich Mustard Men and Knockout 7-4, 6-5, you know. So the Guildford Raptors having a good game against Manchester Spinners, it makes it more important for these 6 and 5s to get their wins and stay ahead of them, because you have to think that they're going to win. So yeah, big week in Division 3.
Yeah.